In this evening's video, we're going back to the Caledonia Works arsenal to have a butcher's at one of the locomotives that was kindly gifted to me last year by Chris Wilson himself. Our topic is the Southern Railway L1 class 440 tender engine, not to be confused with the L1 class 264 tank from the LNER. Seeing as the 440 is a southerner, most of this video's footage will be recorded on a couple of southern region routes, specifically West of England Main Line and Dorset Coast, both of which are from Golden Age developments. Feel free to play a drinking game by taking a preferably non-alcoholic drink every time I say L1 throughout this video. But first, a brief history of the L1. 15 examples of this class were built in 1926 to the design of Richard Maunsell, who based them on Harry Wainwright's L class of 1914. Maunsell came from the Southeastern and Chatham Railway, and the L1s were originally going to be built at Ashford Works, but they were instead built by the North British Locomotive Company of Glasgow due to Ashford being too busy to build them at the time. Incidentally, the L1 is not the only case I've heard of where Southerners were actually built in Scotland. The L1s were designed for passenger work and ran primarily in the county of Kent, which was former SECR territory. Initially, they were numbered from 753 to 759 and 782 to 789, complete with an A prefix to denote Ashford. For reference, ex-LBSCR locomotives had a B prefix for Brighton, and LSWR locomotives had an E prefix for Eastleigh. When the Southern Railway introduced a new numbering scheme, the L1s had 1000 added to their numbers, and their old numbers were taken up by N15 class 460s. As an aside, I've always thought that the L1 bears a strong resemblance to the LMS Fowler 2P, a design that first appeared in 1928. All 15 of Maunsell's 440s passed into British Railways ownership in 1948, and they had 30,000 added to their numbers. They were still used on services from London to Dover or Ramsgate after nationalisation, but were made largely redundant after the arrival of bullied Pacifics. L1 withdrawals began in August 1959, with 31755 being the first of her class to go. The final survivor was 31786, which was withdrawn in February 1962 after her use on a few rail tours in 1961. Sadly, none of the L1s have survived into preservation. The Southern Railway L1 was released for TS in March 2022. Nearly 4 years later, and she is still available to buy from CW's website for £17 at full price. The pack includes all 15 members of the class, and, what I'm pretty sure is, the full set of liveries that they would have worn throughout their lives. The selection is as follows: Southern Railway Ashford Green, SR Maunsell Lined Green, SR Bullied Unlined Black, with either sunshine or gilt lettering on the tender, SR Bullied Malachite Green, which is goated, Malachite green with an S prefix, although it appears as a suffix on one side. BR Maunsell green, an unusual one if you ask me. BR Malachite with Gill Sans lettering. BR Malachite with sunshine lettering but no smokebox number plate. BR lined black with no tender markings. BR lined black with the early crest. A second variant of BR lined black with the early crest, now with experimental yellow lining for some reason. And BR lined black with the late crest. Locomotion 2.0 scripting didn't yet exist at the time of the L1's release, so she uses Locomotion 1.5 instead, and her list of features includes, but is not limited to, a customizable headcode arrangement, but in mentioning this, I've never understood the southern headcode discs or why they even had discs in the first place. You also get a realistic / fully functional cab, 3D firebox and coal, animated valve gear inside the frames, fluctuating water level depending on the route gradient, fire intensity synchronized with the exhaust beat, cab lighting effects, a custom auto fireman, toggled with Ctrl R, a fully scripted steam reverser, more on that later, performance mode Pro, which is toggled with Shift P and improves performance a little bit on less powerful computers, and custom sounds supplied by Steam's Sounds Supreme. When you cycle through the headlamp options on the BR lined black variants, one of those options, only Control 1, also brings up a couple of headboards. As I said in my video about AB608, DA1410 and the Whanganui excursions, I prefer the look of headboards that don't cover the locomotive's entire smokebox door. Meanwhile, the Auto Fireman wasn't included at initial release, but later added in an update released on the 25th of April 2022. Depending on your chosen variant, you can customize the smokebox details in the scenario editor. Personally, I prefer how the L1 looks with burnished handrails and smokebox door straps. Pity you can't put this on the Malachite liveries. It's worth noting that the L1's reverser setup is more or less the same as what you'll find on the LSWR T14 and LNER P1 locomotives. If, like me, you still prefer to use the F4 heads-up display, you can't really use it for an accurate reverser reading on the L1. This is because the reverser symbol on the F4 HUD will spring back to the neutral position, so your best bet could be to switch to the F5 HUD when necessary. To be fair, I dare say Chris wouldn't have put this type of reverser on this locomotive if it wasn't realistic. Come to think of it, we actually have a route in TS Classic that features the L1's old stomping ground, but it's set in the modern day, and consequently, only really suitable for EMUs like the Class 375 Electrostar and Class 395 Javelin. It would be nice to get a Steam-era version of the lines in Kent someday, ideally done to the same high standard as Dorset Coast and the Waffy. the latter being my nickname for the West of England main line. As for what the L1 is like to drive, I thought she was in a middle ground between not too easy but not too difficult, and she is surprisingly powerful for a 440. Your mileage may vary, but I sometimes end up putting more coal on the fire than I realise, and that doesn't have a good effect on the engine's steaming ability. She steams better when the fire mass and water are maintained at the levels advised in the manual. For reference, the ideal fire mass is between 675 and 680 pounds, as marked on the F5 HUD. During a test run from Seaton Junction to Crewkerne, I got the L1 up to at least 67 miles per hour on level or uphill track, and noticed that she has a pretty good sound set to boot. So there you have it, an overview of the Southern Railway L1 class from Caledonia Works. Hopefully this video can help you make an informed choice over whether or not you'll pick up the add-on for yourself. And as for where I'd rate the Southerner that looks like a 2P, I think she deserves a 7.2 out of 10. If you've stuck around to the end of the video, you win a British singer that floats in the water to serve as a navigational aid. It's the David Bowie.